First up, let's cut across to Uttar Pradesh, where bulldozer action has already begun. Remember, in the last 2 days, bulldozer action has been going on. Today, it is against the history sheeter Mashuquddin, the alleged financier of Atiq Ahmed. Now, Mashuquddin and his sons have over 40 cases against them, which include charges of murder, attempt to murder, threat, rioting and even cheating. He is also the current Pradhan of Prayagraj. This is in the Bamrauli area. My colleague Amir Haq joining us on the broadcast live from the spot with the details. Amir, 2 days the bulldozer action continues. The bulldozers have rolled as a police official pieced together every single person who was related to the case.
Well, absolutely, Pratibha. This is the third consecutive day when demolition exercise has been undertaken by the Prayagraj Development Authority with help from the police. Let me also show you the kind of police deployment that has been done on the scene, wherein a large number of force members have been called in to ensure that there are no law and order problems. And 4 JCBs, bulldozers, have been pressed into this entire exercise to ensure that the demolition exercise remains absolutely smooth. Now, Mashuquddin is somebody who's known to be very close to Atiq Ahmed and his sons, as well as his entire gang of criminals, and he's also known to have financed him in his various criminal endeavours, which is why he was on the radar of the police. But now, after the 24th February incident in which Umesh Pal, the prime witness in the Raju Pal murder case, was killed in a daylight shootout, and 2 of his gunners, police constables, were also killed in that particular shootout, Prayagraj police definitely, and the government not taking it lightly and taking clear action against all such people who were associated with Atiq Ahmed or his gang. Now, as you rightly said, there are over 40 criminal cases registered against Mashuquddin as well as his sons, and there are very serious cases that have been registered against this entire family. That includes charges from murder, attempt to murder, cheating, forgery, as well as instances where bodily harm has been caused to people. So that clearly shows the kind of criminal bent of mind this person had and several of his family members had. But as far as PDA is concerned, the reason why this house is being demolished is because this was built against the Prayagraj Development Authority norms. Also, this place is very close, in fact, right adjacent to the walls of the Bamrauli airport. The airport station is just about 100 meters away from here. And this area has therefore been earmarked that there could actually be no construction over here. Despite all of that, this 3-storied building, this residence, was actually built here. Although there were family members of Mashuquddin who actually turned up here, his daughter-in-law turned up here and spoke to us and tried to explain that this house, this building actually belongs to her. She has taken a loan of around 38 lakh for the construction of this house. In fact, this is a newly built, absolutely fresh house. This hadn't even been occupied, and this was built just days before this demolition exercise had been undertaken. So quite clearly, as we've been saying over the last 3 days, after Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath made that statement on the floor of House that all such mafias who had been associated with Atiq Ahmed, the criminals who've been associated with him, or mafias otherwise, will not be spared who take law into their own hands. And clearly, the manner in which that daylight shooting took place on the streets of Prayagraj on the 24th of February, it was absolutely clear that the government and the authorities will come down heavily on all such persons who were perpetrators or who were behind the conspiracy of this kind of a criminal exercise. Now, although the Prayagraj police, including STF, have been under a lot of pressure over the last 1 week, because because remember, today, just a week back, this incident had happened. Over the last 7 days, they've been looking for all the shooters who've been identified through the CCTV footage of the shootout. All those shooters have not been traced as yet, and therefore, parallelly, government agencies working to root out all such people who had been working in tandem with Atiq Ahmed or his gang, and to ensure that sympathizers and supporters of the gang are taken to task, even though the shooters of into this case are still at large. So while the government is working, the police is working day in and day out to trace those shooters who were involved in that horrific killing. Parallelly, action continues on all such people who have been associated with Atiq Ahmed. Now, there are three fronts apart from, there's one more front apart from these two fronts on which government is working, wherein within the courts there are a number of applications and petitions being given by Atiq Ahmed, his family, as well as the ones who've been associated with him. So legally also the government is having to tackle the kind of applications that are being given in the court. That includes Shaista Parveen, the wife of Atiq Ahmed, who's been praying before the local CGM court here in Prayagraj, that two of her minor sons have been picked up by the police and they have been completely untraceable. So while we are talking here and we are witnessing this kind of a demolition exercise here in the CJM court, around the same time, the lawyers of Shaista Parveen are pleading before the court to ask the police to present these two minor boys, sons of the youngest sons of Atiq Ahmed, who have been missing since February 24th. Now, Shaista Parveen has been saying that they've been picked up on the same day that shootout happened by the police, but there is no registered name of these two boys in the police station, and therefore they've gone completely untraceable. So while action is being taken on all these fronts, what stands out into this entire exercise is the alacrity with which police agencies, administration, the government overall is working to ensure that people's faith in law and order and the kind of government machinery that is on the ground is restored, and that all such perpetrators of this heinous crime, as well as the ones that have been undertaken by Atiq Ahmed and his gang, are actually punished, so that people believe that the government is powerful enough and can actually reach out to all such people who go on the wrong side of law. And this incident on the 24th of February was clearly, an incident which cocked a snook at policing, law and order, governance in the Yogi government, and this clearly did not go down well with the Chief Minister, and he's been taking consistent reports from all authorities of the kind of action that is being taken against Atiq Ahmed and his supporters and sympathizers. So this is the third consecutive day when action is taking place against somebody who's known to be close to Atiq Ahmed, his financier, and somebody who has a number of criminal cases registered against him, and that too very heinous ones. Pratibha?
Right, Amir. So this is my colleague Amir Haq, who is reporting live from the spot. Action being taken against Atiq Ahmed's close aide. This is day 3 of the bulldozer action that we are seeing in Uttar Pradesh. Amir, Yogi Adityanath had said, "Mitti mein mila denge," and immediately after that, quite literally, we are seeing illegal encroachments by the close aides of Atiq Ahmed being razed to the ground. And this action, like you mentioned, this is the third day in a row that we are seeing this action. The police officials are looking at those who are close aides of Atiq Ahmed, their involvement, illegal encroachments being razed to the ground completely. The attack that has come in from some in the opposition has been that this is targeted attack, but the government has made it clear, Amir, that this is action only on the illegal encroachments and with those who have criminal antecedents. So that in context, take us through the kind of action that has been taken over the last 3 days, as we have seen the bulldozer action that has been initiated against those who are involved in the case.
Well, Pratibha, over the last 3 successive days, the PDA and police authorities have been on their toes throughout. On Wednesday, the first demolition exercise was undertaken in the Kasari-Masari area, just about 50 meters away from Atiq Ahmed's paternal house in the Chakia area. And Zafar Ahmed, who happened to be somebody who was close to his family, was a close relative of Atiq Ahmed's lawyer. A Benami property that he held in his name was identified by the government and was pulled down. This property was worth around 2.5 crores. And interestingly, Shaista Parveen, the wife of Atiq Ahmed, was staying in this property as a tenant over the last couple of years, ever since their original house was taken down by the government because it was illegally built. So that was the first day of exercise. On the second day, another man who was known to be very close to Atiq Ahmed and used to supply weapons to him and his gang was targeted. His 3-storied house in the Chakia area on the 60 feet road was brought down. And the third consecutive day, it is the turn of Mashuquddin, the Pradhan from Asroli village on the outskirts of Prayagraj. And this house, as I said earlier, has been freshly built. The construction of this house had completed just about a few days back. The family of Mashuquddin was about to move into this particular house. But even before this could be occupied, this is now being pulled down. The authorities here had been considerate enough to give about half an hour to the family to allow them to take away their belongings, and you would see behind the bulldozer the household belongings strewn around, hurriedly taken outside from within this house, and then the demolition exercise quickly began. And there are 4 bulldozers at work, all at once. And we do believe that over the next hour and a half, the entire demolition exercise should finish because, this is something which is on the top priority of the agencies, the authorities here. And as I said earlier, before the authorities, the police can lay their hands on the shooters who were seen in the CCTV footage firing indiscriminately on Umesh Pal and his 2 gunners. This exercise is being taken to restore the faith of the people into law and order and the kind of immediate action that the Yogi government can take. Now, there were many people who were taken by surprise here because they initially thought that the ones who had been identified as accused in the case will be targeted by the government and authorities. But it seems that the government, the agencies have a brief of going right into the root of this entire gang, which is why now supporters and sympathizers and anybody who either it was a weapon supplier or somebody who used to provide inputs to him as far as his criminal endeavours were concerned, or somebody who actually financed him, have been targeted here to ensure that the next time, anybody from Atiq Ahmed's family or any of his gang members decides to go ahead with any criminal act, they will have to think twice before undertaking any such exercise. So quite clearly and quite literally what the Chief Minister said on the floor of the House is coming true, and a huge crowd has gathered here to witness this spectacle. And clearly, statements might not make the kind of impact that these visuals would make on people who even think of taking the law into their hands or taking the path of crime like what we are witnessing here right now.
Right. Amir, also the police officials have included the names of Atiq's son Asad as well as shooter Sabir as well as a conspirator identified as Sadakat, all of it in the Umesh Pal murder case as well. Like you mentioned, the Chief Minister made it clear that there's going to be zero tolerance for Mafia Raj. It was a speech that he made in the floor of the House, and immediately after that is when all the action has followed. The bulldozer action is continuing, and it's not just on those who are accused in the case but also those who are associated with them. So dismantling the Mafia Raj in the true sense, as the Chief Minister had spoken. As far as the case is concerned, big developments also coming in on the Sun as well. The police officials including Assad's name in the FIR.
Well, right, Pratibha, the investigations are progressing alongside this kind of an action being taken by the Development Authority and the police out here in Prayagraj. And in fact, over the last 24 hours, the police's investigation has progressed further, which is why the name of Assad, the third son of Atiq Ahmed, has been included in the investigation in the FIR. Sadakat, somebody who was apprehended from the Muslim hostel in Allahabad University, who was a third-year LLB student and was known to be very close to Atiq Ahmed, has also been named as one of the accused. And at least 2 to 3 more people, Ghulam Muhammad, who was one of the shooters, which is quite evident with the CCTV footage, has also been named therein. And a number of other people who have now been identified with the kind of investigation that has progressed over the last 7 days have been included in the investigation, and their names will definitely figure in the charge sheet that the police files once it concludes its investigation. So clearly anybody who is remotely connected to the conspiracy of the Umesh Pal murder case, or is a part of the Atiq Ahmed gang, or has been supporting him in any manner, has been included into the ambit of the investigation, and therefore their names have cropped up and have been included in the FIR. So